Ladies and gentlemen of the Maroon Faithful, Red Asses near and far, Cole Cubelic does not buy Marcel Reed. Maybe he should. Now, I think Cole is one of the best analysts out there. Love his takes, especially the Sunday recaps he does each week on Twitter. But maybe he should. So here's what I'm going to do. The smallest, most inconsequential channel out there doing football takes is going to give you the full clip and context. Then I'm going to make the case for Marcel. Okay? Some have asked, Central, what did you learn on your travels while you were not smoking peyote trying to talk to John David Crow and Dana X Bible? What did you learn while you were away? I'll tell you one thing I learned, and what I'm dedicated to doing on this channel, not wearing maroon sunglasses. Not wearing maroon sunglasses, not giving you that weird take that's just over the top, Aggie positive. I'm going to try and give you the best balanced take that I can. So to accomplish this, after I made the case for Marcel, I'm going to make Cole's case for him. And then you can decide. Make up your own mind, buy Marcel or wait. But at the end, I'm going to put a cherry on top, okay? So let's get to the video, then a word from our sponsor.
When the dust settles in December or January or November is the team that makes you go, how did that happen? Like, how is A&M in this mix?
Sure. I'm with you. And I think one thing that Elko's going to change is just going to be the personality, the mentality, essentially the DNA of the team. They're not going to be out physical. You're not going to have guys with elite talent that he doesn't take advantage of. I think Mike's going to be able to get that out of guys. Like Casey Concepcion has gotten almost no mention here. And there's a list of about 8 guys that we should probably go through just to let people know who they are. He would be one that could absolutely shred this league this year. They're going to have a good ground game. They're going to have a good offensive line, but they add something to that only maybe Auburn has, and that might be it. And that's offensive line depth. Texas A&M has a number 6 and a number 7 that could start on most teams in the SEC with their offensive line. The backs are great. But what you just brought up about personality is really interesting because I think similar to LSU, a problem I have with Texas A&M is, are you going to just individually find that identity on offense? The Jekyll and Hyde manner in which Colin Klein called plays in just a couple of games last year, Josh, that's got to go away. The inability to continue to run the football at Auburn is inexcusable. How the play calling was handled at times against Texas cannot continue to happen. Now, I'm not bought into Marcel Reed. I don't know if he's going to be a great SEC quarterback. I think he's a great athlete. Yeah. He's got a good arm. And I think that they can design some things to where he can help them play winning football, but they need to know what that is and who they are as far as how they do it.
See, I remember when we went there in the spring, one of the first people I saw when I walked in the building was Colin Klein. And so he's just so immediate to point out what you were talking about. He said, these offensive linemen, you have no idea how much cleaner that makes the lines on the grease board. When you draw these plays up the way they're supposed to work, when you talk about the schizophrenic nature of how play calling seems to have happened, he says, dude, you have no idea. I don't think people can fully appreciate the depth we have. And the I think the way he phrased it is the willingness to learn, the willingness to be a sponge that Marcel Reed has about him, more so than like all-American playmaking ability. He said, if you've got those things, it makes my job a whole lot easier. He said, there's literally no excuse for us. Year 2, there's literally no excuse for me. Year 2, we've got the personnel. Like we can do what we need to do.
Wow, interesting takes. But quick word from our sponsor. Do you have mice in your attic and invasive broadleaf weeds taking over your yard? Call XYZ Rodent and Yard. That's 979-104-1876. Again, 979-104-1876. I'm sure there's nothing to those numbers. So interesting takes. Thank you, Cole, but no evidence, no stats, just talk and bluster. I like this guy, and I kind of get it. That's what is happening here. That's what we kind of do on these talking head type of segments. But that's just what it was. There was no real reason why. So here's my case. Let's make the case for Marcel for our guy. All right. Now, this is numbers heavy, so be ready. I'm here with numbers and stats. In 2024, Marcel was the 4th highest rushing QB in the SEC. He had 116 carries all year long, 4.6 average, 49 yards per game. For context, Pavia led the SEC with 61 yards per game. That's just behind, well, actually him in front, but Marcel is behind Sellers and Milrow for 56 and 55 yards per game, respectively. So he's in great company. Let's talk total offense. Marcel was 12th in the SEC. Okay, I get it. But this is not that section of the podcast. We're going to get to that section. Cole's section's coming up. This is Marcel's section. So that's 218 yards per game, gets him 12th in the SEC. However, if you focus on yards per play, you factor that, you filter for that. Marcel jumps to 9th. Okay, moving on up, 6.7 yards per play against SEC opponents, which you might be interested in because, most of the time everybody's just playing against, other competition outside of the SEC, and we know the SEC is the best conference. So what'd you do against the SEC? Well, turns out he's 7th. He moves up to 7th when you factor for just plain SEC competition. That further improves in November. Is November important? I seem to think, I remember hearing that November was an important month of the regular season. Okay, Marcel comes in 5th in the SEC with 281 total yards per game. Great. That's important. So let's keep going. He's got 2,400 of total yards. That finds himself in the top 6 in the SEC during November, though, racking up 1,100 yards. Because 24, not that impressive. Many have done quite a bit more than that. But in the SEC, in November, 1,100 yards. Okay? Like I said, that in November, it's a pretty important month, Cole. Baby, just get your credit card out. Let's run that sucker. Let's slide it across the table. Let's get your credit score. I know we can get you a personal line of credit. You probably got an 890 credit score, right? American Express has your back. Come on, Cole. Let's make that case. Speaking of got your back, appreciate you watching. In my travels, I also kind of got to this point where I'm fed up with subscriptions. I appreciate you watching. I'd appreciate if you go ahead and unsubscribe from the channel. Who cares about subscriptions? YouTube cares about subscriptions. I don't. If I need anything, if you guys are watching this podcast, that's what all I need. That'll do me just fine. Big time goal, 2,000, 3,000, whatever thousands of views can actually end up happening from this channel. 0 subscriptions. If you're watching the second time since I've been back, unsubscribe, please. You're doing me a favor. I'm serious about this. Serious as a heart attack. So unsubscribe. Let's get back to it. So, who's he chasing with 1,100 yards in November against SEC competition? He's chasing Carson Beck, Nico, Jackson Dart, Peyton Thorne, every single one of them gone. Just through attrition, he's going to move up. That's what's going to happen. So, who's he better than? Some prominent names you might know, like Nussmeier, Ewers, Pavia. 1,100 yards in November against SEC competition does him better than those 3. These are 3, one in particular, Nussmeier, making the rounds all over the place. Sounds like people are buying this guy. They're bought into this guy. I seem to remember a few turnovers against A&M down the stretch. Now, I know that was late October, not quite November, but we're getting pretty close. So let's keep on going. Let's talk about completion percentage. Last 5 games, 64% versus SC. 206 yards passing, another 46 on the ground, and that's at Columbia. We're talking about South Carolina, not USC. Okay, 46 on the ground at Columbia. I know we lost that game. That's not this section again. Okay, we'll get to that section. 64% against New Mexico, 62% at Auburn. 297 yards passing, 66 more on the ground. Again, going into Jordan Hare, making it to the last play of the game. I know we didn't win that game, but he played that game in a big way. We're going all the way down to the last play. There's nothing he did to lose that game at that point. He did everything he needed to do, making big plays. That ball was right where it needed to be. Am I right? I'm right. Capped it all off with a 69.6% completion percentage against the most elite D, probably in the SEC, team who shall not be named on this podcast. So, That's the case for Marcel. I think it's pretty strong. To keep it balanced, let's make Cole's case. Let's make Cole's case because I get it. And you've heard this over the offseason. Marcel has emphasized it in his pressers. Passer. He's not a passing quarterback. That's what's being said. He's a runner, he's a dual threat, but a pure passer, he is not. That's what's being said. Okay. Probably some truth to that. Here's the numbers. He's 11th highest in passer rating in the SEC. Supports that very, very strongly. 7.8 yards per attempt, tied for 8th in the SEC. So he's treading on bottom half. 169 yards per game passing. Again, 13th in the SEC. So bringing up the rear. Only 3 guys worse than that in the SEC. We know accuracy is a problem. And when it comes to intangibles, things that people like Cole Cubelic will mention when it comes to what you want to be able to see from a quarterback, winning the big game. Winning the big game. LSU was a big game, but what he's probably looking at is winning at and on the road against SC, against Auburn, against USC. Sure, you can make some cases that those weren't on him. Again, that's not this section. Let's make Cole's case. All right. So he hasn't won the big game. That's just true. It's just true. If he's going to take the step up, if he's going to be bought, he needs to win the big game. He needs to do enough and more, not just his part, to be able to will his team to the big win. Okay. He played well away, but can he get that team over the hump? Got to turn L's into dubs. So Cole, I like your case. I see your case. I wish you would have made that case. That is your case. That's the way I see it. But here's what I want to do now. I want to show you the last drive that Marcel had against USC. Let's watch this drive, then we'll react.
No. He's going to pass on first down. Pressure comes, and now Reed is going to take off. Reed gets sandwiched between 2 USC defenders, but he gets 7 yards on first down. First down, close to midfield. On the move, down 4. Reed in the pocket, throws short middle. That pass caught on a nice move. TJ Smith, who's really had a nice overall game,
finds his check down Smith over the ball.
Some tempo offense. Reed looking downfield, throws downfield, and that pass complete
to Terry Bussey. It is just so dangerous outside of the pocket. So dangerous.
Reed is going to run again. Reed gets away, falls
and he's
forward inside
slippery,
the 20.
SOB.
So he's a couple yards short, but field goal doesn't do him any good. They need a touchdown. So it's 2nd and 2 for Reed and the Aggies. Reed throws toward that end zone. And
watch this 100 times.
Oh my goodness!
Just
what an effort by Thomas. He almost
gotta catch that, man.
Was able to scoop it in with a one-handed catch, but it's Bussey in motion. They will fake it to him. Reed straight ahead run. Ooh. Reed into the open. Touchdown! Marcel Reed.
Oh, I thought right here it was.
And Texas A&M goes
right
back ahead.
Coming to the screen left to right for Texas A&M. Watch all the attention he brings to the USC defense. Their eyes flow with Bussey.
Guy needs to pick up
it
his
creates
jock
a huge gash in the defense
of the field.
And then Reed does the rest.
Yeah.
Almost as bad as the movie Put on the Florida Guy. My goodness. So that's my cherry on top. I think it boils down to some questions, the intangible pieces. What can he do away? What can he do in November? We're talking about championship month at this point, willing yourself to get into those places to win games, especially away. What does he do in the fourth quarter is another big question. That's exactly why I picked this particular one. Look at, this is the last drive. We did have the ball one more time, but we're talking about like, I don't know, was it 20 seconds? It was like garbage time kind of stuff. So this particular drive, this is a big drive for a guy that came in 4 games into the season and basically finished it out, kind of spot play throughout. Come in and do this and to see his progression throughout the year, find his identity. I thought this was just a really big kind of swan song for the season and to kind of show what he was capable of and get this year out of the way. So how about this though? I know he's not buying him, but What is there to say about him having another year with this coaching staff, another year with Colin Klein? That's kind of big, don't you think? I mean, he kind of made the case in the video. If you go back and listen to it, he's talking about like this year he's going to have elite wide receiving group. He's going to have a huge stable of backs, and he's got seven returning offensive linemen they think would start on a lot of other SEC teams. And we only need five, right? We got seven. So I mean, if you just want to like focus completely on the quarterback position and just dial that in, you can. But no other QB is like that, evaluated like that. Nussmeier's not what he was because of just him. Neither was Ewers. I mean, we're talking about having people around you. Did he have people around him last year? Not like he's probably going to have this year. I think that plays into this a lot. I'm buying Marcel Reed in the 2025 season. No one else has to do that. It's just where I'm at this point, based off of the things that I was able to provide that I didn't hear from others. So, Cole, if you're listening, baby, buy Marcel. This is Central. See you later.